Hey guys, it's Bear.
And Blackie.
Welcome to Old Wayz 52. It's been a minute since we've done one of these and been a lot of water under the bridge since then. We thought we would just work an after action report into this one and talk about a few things we got coming up. First thing I want to address is that little throat clearing. As some people it bothers, and I apologize for that. About 20 years ago I had some surgery, and during the surgery I pulled out my endotracheal tube twice and ripped my vocal cords, and that's why I am coughing and clearing my throat so much. So I do apologize for those of you that find that objectionable, but there's a medical reason why. Just recently we have had the Silver Wolves class over at the Geneva State Forest, and we've had the gathering, Blackie's gathering. And if you missed it, you missed it.
Yeah, the class was well attended. We had, I think it was 12 students. They were from Arizona, New York, Oklahoma, that's right. Texas, Michigan, Minnesota, all over the place. And a real good group of people, and we had a really good time doing it.
And really good instructors.
The instructors were myself, Dakota, Mike Simmons, and J.J. Morris of Fuel the Fire, and had a really good time. It worked out very well. And the weather was good. That was one of the big factors I was worried about. But we didn't have any rain during the class. A little bit of wind, but other than that, we were good.
Yeah. I was over there visiting a couple of days and just had the best time talking to folks. You can pick up a lot of stuff just sitting back and listening. And I found out a lot of good things about a lot of good people, and met a lot of new friends. The gathering was the same way.
You know, that's one of the things that we take for granted was when we were growing up, everybody had a porch. And we didn't watch TV all the time. We'd sit on the porch and talk. And like you were saying, you never knew what piece of important tidbit of information was going to pop up out of the blue because you were sitting there talking and the topic came up. You know, hunting, fishing, canning, whatever. It was just a great resource that we just don't do anymore.
How to cook on an open fire.
How Grandma made biscuits. How Granddaddy butchered a hog.
Yeah.
How to hunt deer. How to hunt squirrels. There was always something being passed on at one of those discussions. And that's one of the things I like about the gathering is that people get to come in and we just sit around the fire and talk.
Yeah.
You know.
That's one of the best parts of it, is just the social interaction. We have a good time.
It's really good, especially from people from different walks of life, from different areas, and they get to come in and talk about, you know, their areas. I had one guy that was really blown away because he got to see an armadillo.
Really?
He's from up north. He'd never seen an armadillo before. And so that just tickled him to death with getting to see one. A couple of gatherings ago, Jonathan Frisbee was asleep in his tent, in his hammock, right at dawn, and a wild piglet came up and went to suckling on his fingertip. His hand was hanging outside the hammock, and it, you know, had his arm over, it was hanging out, and the piglet went to suckling on his fingertip. That was what woke him up.
I bet it did.
Well, yeah, that kind of gets your attention. You know, where's Mama?
Yeah, don't get out of the hammock.
Don't get out of the hammock. Mama may be around here. Just pull your hand back, let baby go away.
There was a couple who was down here in the South for the first time from, was it New York?
New York.
New York, New Jersey, that area of the world. And I think they're going to be back.
They did seem to enjoy it.
They had a good time.
You know, it is a when you're traveling, you're always going to encounter a cultural difference
Oh, yeah.
of how people say and do things. So that's one of it. It's also really interesting, different weather, different climes. The young lady was, this was her very first time camping out, and it was her very first time camping in a hammock. And it got down to like 41 that night. So she did really, really well. Didn't get all upset and complain about it or anything. So it was a good learning experience.
Yeah.
You know.
That's the point. It's a learning experience. And we learned what we know sitting at the knees, figuratively, of the graybeards,
Oh yeah.
the folks that had already done it. And, you know, I say graybeard with respect because even someone as young as Dakota, and I've got kids older than Dakota,
Yeah.
okay, he has the head knowledge to qualify as a graybeard.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, he knows his stuff.
He's spending enough time with the graybeards and was willing to listen and learn. And that's been a real asset to him now in his outdoor adventures, is because he did spend the time and learn from it.
And wanted to learn.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we see so many kids these days that are, you know, they've got their nose in a cell phone or a TV or something, or a computer screen,
Yeah.
and they're lost. I mean, they're just in a world of their own. They're zoned out. That's no way to live.
You could walk through the middle of a lot of these places on fire and they wouldn't even notice you. I mean, just walk through. They did a demonstration, I saw at a college level thing several years ago, and it had 10 girls all wearing various outfits with a beach ball. And they're throwing the beach ball back and forth. And the question at the beginning of the video was, how many times is the beach ball thrown? And so in this like 30-second video, you're counting the beach ball and which pretty girl catches it, and etc. Right? Yep. At the end of the video, it asked, "Did you see the gorilla?" And this person in a gorilla suit walked right behind. I don't mean like half a block. I mean right behind them, right to left, and nobody saw the gorilla because you're watching the ball. And then when you back up the video, and sure enough, there was the person in the gorilla suit walked through, and you never even saw it because you were focusing on the ball.
Yeah.
You know, humans can only stay focused on one thing at a time. That's one of the big basis of magicians doing tricks.
Yeah, I heard a very wise person say that men are like waffles and women are like a pot of spaghetti because their train of thought is just everywhere. And we have to plug into a little square, unplug, move to the next one, and plug back in.
Yeah, we'll stay focused on one given topic.
Yeah.
And oblivious to the rest of it.
And I have found that to be fairly accurate.
Yeah. Well, I know that I have, like this time of year, I have been walking along, and I'm looking for snake. Because now they're out, they're crawling around, and their camouflage is outstanding down here, and you still got all these brown leaves everywhere. And so a copperhead is very difficult to spot until you're standing still and looking, and really he kind of just appears like he's cloaked. And so I'm looking really hard trying to make sure I'm not about to step onto a copperhead or something, and have a deer walk by 10 yards to the right or something, and I never saw it. I heard it, but I never saw it until suddenly I went, what was that? And it was the sound that got my attention.
Yeah.
You know.
Deer will miraculously appear out of the tree line too.
Quail will spook the snot out of you, boy.
Yep.
Because you're sitting there, you're looking, and oh boy. Yeah.
I've known lots of folks have to go home and change their underwear after that one.
Nope, I have not had to do that. I've had to go take a bath in the creek before, but I have not had to do that.
Yeah, if you never had a covey of quail rise on you, it's an interesting experience the first time.
They'll sit there dead silent until you just about are going to step on them. And then they'll flush all at once right under your feet, and it's this big flurry of wings and everything, and it will just brighten your day, you know, when you're not looking for it. Especially when you're looking real hard trying to spot a copperhead and say, it's like a jack-in-the-box goes off underneath you. Well, let's see. You went to the military surplus store, and that video did really well.
Thank you, by the way. Yeah, that one has done real well. Gonna be going back. Got some ideas we want to put together, and for more videos around Kaufman's. The ladies, like I said, the ladies are super, super nice and will help you out any way that they're able.
So what's the next piece of military gear you're wanting to get?
Well, you know, I bought that Arctic canteen.
Right.
That was going to be a really good experiment this morning. I filled it, I washed it out and put coffee in it. Was going to put it in the insulated carry case and left it at the house.
So it's very well protected right now.
It's sitting on my desk, waiting on me to get it.
But ain't that always how the best stories happen?
Oh yeah.
You know, there I was.
Yeah, and most of them include pirates somewhere.
Pirates or whatever. I mean,
pirates or coffee.
You never have a good story about when everything went right.
No.
It's always about when everything went south in a hurry.
Yeah, I want to do I want to get an MS sleep system and do something with that.
Now, for those that don't know, MS sleep system was a military sleep system where it was a series of sleeping bags that locked into each other to make a bigger bag if you need it.
Yeah.
So you had a light bag for summer conditions, so to speak. Then you had like a heavier bag that could be done by itself, and the two would lock together. And then they had an outer covering that so you could just basically lay down in the rain and cover up and be dry.
Yeah, and they're good down to about 0. So
they're bulky, but they're very good.
Yeah. Blackie's got one, and I know his sleep system weighs about 20 pounds.
Just about.
Feels like it does anyway.
Hammock and everything, and winter clothing's 20 pounds. For the MS sleep system, proper long handles, which, like you pointed out in your video, they've got them on sale down there right now, and then the sleep system to go with it in the hammock. That it adds up real quick in weight, but it's worth its weight when it's 18 degrees out here.
Oh yeah.
And if you ain't sleeping warm, you don't sleep well.
I finally pulled the trigger and got a one-wind hammock, and we're going to be doing a video on that, setting it up and getting it ready. I'm real anxious to do that.
We've also got one of the, I'm going to be doing a video on it, the bug net that goes around the whole tarp and turns it into like a bug house. Which would be really useful down here in our south because A, it makes the walls 4 or 5 feet out from you on either side, so you got plenty of room. You can sit inside of it. You can get out of the bugs.
But don't put it over a yellow jacket nest.
Don't put it over a yellow jacket nest. I did that morning. For those that don't remember, on my channel, I had to go to work that day, so I went out very early that morning, right after sunup, and went over to a place that I'm at a lot, and I set up the hammock and I set up the tarp, and then I'm setting up the bug net that went all the way around it, and I'm just finishing up, and I'm up here like this, and of course the sun's come up, it's warming up, and I'm just finishing up getting the mesh to go and hook like it's supposed to, and something caught my attention. I looked down and there was about 75 yellow jackets right here on the inside of the mesh, that if I had not had that, they would have been on me. Of course, they didn't make any noise. They just come up and they land, and then they all attack at once, but they were inside that bug net.
Yeah, that could have gotten real nasty real quick.
Ooh, I was so glad I didn't have to pull that thing down. I could leave it and come back at night, and that's what I did. I went up there and told them what was down there. I said, don't walk up that thing. It's over a yellow jacket nest. And then I came back at about 11:30 that night when it got cool, and quietly and gently took that thing down in my tarp and my hammock and left them in that ground nest. I did not make them mad.
Smart idea.
Yeah.
When I was about 10 years old, I stepped on a nest. They were not amused. I think I got stung 31 times.
They just don't take a joke worth a flip.
They really don't.
They really, really don't.
And they don't play well with others.
No. I was on a...
As we live and breathe.
There's one. Buzzing around. He made a cameo appearance. I was on a bicycle going to get something. And for whatever reason, I think my shoelace had come undone. I decided to stop rather than get that tangled up in the chain. And so I just coasted off to the side, dropped the bike, just stepped off and let it fall over. And had just bent down to tie the shoe whenever them yellow jackets boiled out, because the bicycle fell on top of their nest and they come boiling out.
Yeah.
I was lucky enough there was a pond to my left, and I was able to dive into that pond. I only got hit 10 times, but I was able to dive under there and then take it, swim as far as I could, come up, gulp air, and keep going. And they'll follow you a little bit over the water, but not terrible far.
Yeah.
And
if you ever get into that situation, one of the best remedies for that is a poultice made out of meat tenderizer and water.
yeah,
You just put it in your hand and make the poultice, and then put it straight on after you pick the. Well, no, yellow jackets don't lose their stinger.
they don't lose their stinger.
Yeah, bees lose their stinger. Yellow jackets don't. But take that poultice and put it right over the wound, and just gob it on there and let it dry, and it'll absorb that poison out of that sting. Ask me how I know.
Yeah, my sister got hit. She went coming around the back side of her house, a place she didn't get to very often, near the air conditioner, and they lit her up. She had about a dozen or so stings.
Yeah.
She called me up, and I went back over there, went around there real gentle, real slow. And what you're looking for is that several of them just sitting there hovering around the door, they're fanning air down in for air circulation. So there'll always be one sitting there. So if you're walking along and you stop and get quiet and you hear a bees or something, stop and look around and see where they're at. If there's one, just 2 or 3 of them, they're hovering right here and there's a little bitty hole in the ground, that thing might be the size of a car tire in the ground.
Yeah.
Leave them alone, but at least acknowledge them and get away from them.
If you're close enough to hear them, you're too close.
You're too close.
You're too close.
That's one of them things you listen out for, especially this time of the year. Whenever you're walking around in the woods, if you stop to whatever and you hear that constant bzzz, look around.
Yeah. By all means, look around.
If they ain't started hitting you, a lot of times they'll let you just pass by them.
Yeah.
If you don't actually step on it or stomp. I have walked right by one right there, that's the nest. And as I glanced down, I saw it, I just kept going. They recognize that animals walk over. They'll kind of ignore that, but their fear is something like a black bear or something that'll dig in to get to them.
Yeah. Dig down to get to those grubs.
Yeah. So that's what they come out in defense. So as long as you just keep walking, a lot of times they'll leave you alone. But if you stop, especially if you stomp on the ground or you loiter around here a couple minutes, they get nervous. Because they hear you coming, they feel it through the ground, and then suddenly you stop.
Yep. I did want to talk about a gift I got over at the gathering.
Step up there and show it up close. His hip's still not working well, guys, so bear with him.
Sometimes it sucks getting old, but it's not for sissies. I was gifted this book by Justin Kuhn, Justin, I have had so much fun with this book. It has any question you never thought of answering or asking answered right here. It's Henley's Formulas for Home and Workshop by Gardner D. Hiscock. And you look right there, there's the ISBN number. This thing is awesome. Now, it was written, this is a reprint. It was written in 1907, and this is a copy, a reprint of the 1927 edition. So some of the wording, the phrasing might be a little difficult to understand, but it should not be impossible to understand. Okay? This is so much fun, and it's got a lot of useful information in it. Right here on the back, it tells you about absinthe, how to make it, adhesives, alloys, alum, amber. Tells you about antique bronzes. Who'd have thunk? But, guys, if you want a fun read with some useful information in it, this book and Firefox, you'll be set.
Well, brother, what we're going to do in the next video?
You talking about Old Wayz 53?
Old Wayz 53, what we're going to do?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure. We may start doing some cooking. I don't know. That's a little far out. I know that between now and then, you had wanted to review a Kelly kettle.
Yeah.
And we were going to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And we may start with some gardening. Or some baking. I'm not sure. We'll kick the idea around, and we'll come up with something fun for you.
Now, one thing we had mentioned, I think would be really good. I got that big dry erase board.
Yeah.
Let's go over to where we do that classroom-like thing, and let's put it up on the thing, and you walk through step by step how to do the baking.
Sure.
Instead of actually doing it, because it's just so time-consuming to do it.
Yeah.
But take them through step by step. Step one, take your bacon and do this and explain. Step two, and I can draw out little illustrations and stuff like that for you. And that way we can get them through the idea of how to do their own bacon.
Yeah, we can do that.
Sounds good to me.
We can do that, man. I had mentioned a while back doing some meat smoking. Now, this would be a really good time to do it.
Yeah, it's still kind of cool. We can still get away with it.
Yeah. The good thing about it is I have a grill with a built-in smoker box. So we can get my grill out. I've had it under my mother's carport, keep it out of the weather, and she's been after me to move it for a while. So that may be inspiration to move it.
Good inspiration, yeah.
I've got some fatback, some pork belly that I had to salt down and put up because life. And I get it out of the freezer and see how much of the salt it has absorbed, and see how much time I've got to take to soak it to get it back to where it needs to be, where we can start.
Sounds good.
But you reckon that's gonna do it for this one?
Let's do it for this.
All right. Sounds good. Well, guys, I'm Bear.
And I'm Blackie.
We'll see you down the road. Y'all have a great day.